Hey, I'm Srini, the creator of Maximize Your Output with Mem. Have you ever struggled to find that one important note amidst all of your ideas and information? Well, today I'm going to dive into Mem's powerful search capabilities and show you how to effortlessly locate exactly what you need right when you need it using the search features in Mem. And if you're feeling overwhelmed by information overload and want to unlock Mem's full potential to skyrocket your productivity, click the link in the description below to book a free 15-minute strategy session with me. We'll identify your biggest productivity roadblocks and create a custom action plan to help you build a powerful second brain in Mem. Now, let's get to the video. In personal knowledge management, search is one of your first stops for finding information, and often we don't use it nearly as well as we could. It's really ideal when you know what you're after, and it helps you quickly locate files, notes, or topics. And in this demo, I'm going to show you 4 different ways that you can search in Mem to streamline your retrieval process. First, let's dive into keyword search. You'll see here that I have a couple of keyword phrases. In this case, I'm going to basically use concept of a second brain because I know I have a ton of notes about that. So what we can do is we can either press the search bar or we can do just Command K. And you'll see here that it basically, if I type second brain, it will actually list all the notes with second brain. But if I type concept of a second brain, we'll get something entirely different, which is basically everything that is related to having a second brain. And depending on how many notes you have, it can take as long as it did right here. So a couple of things you'll notice is that each result includes a concise summary that gives you a snapshot of the content. You see sort of the key themes. The idea here is that you can organize them by whenever they're most relevant. And the other thing you'll notice here is how often the word second brain appears in each one of these different notes that I have pulled up. So you see references to broader concepts and insights that give you more context and depth, even though they may not be the exact search term that you were looking for, the exact note you were looking for. You actually are able to see all the notes related to that specific query. And this structure really helps you quickly identify which mems are most pertinent to your search needs. So the next thing I want to do is what is called basically a spontaneous keyword search. And with this, you might not always have mems with that exact phrase, but the system is designed to help you find all your relevant notes by analyzing the content and context. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type in the phrase here or bring out the keyword phrase decision-making strategies for your 30s. So what I'm going to do is copy that and bring up our search bar again. And again, you can see here that it's going to just give me suggestions based on what I've typed here. And I know that I actually have a lot of different notes on decision making. So you can see here that it actually is basically brought in every single note that I have on decision making. So for example, let's say that I wanted to write an article titled Decision Making Strategies for Your 30s. I could actually create a collection about that article and then use all of these notes to outline that article. So that's one of the cool things about spontaneous keyword search. But I think the most important thing to take away from this idea of spontaneous keyword search is the importance of titles, which I've talked about before. Because if you think about it, just like in Google, where certain results appear on the front page based on user intent, your notes are organized to surface the most relevant information based on your intent. And so that's really what it means to future proof. Because if you think about future intent when you're creating these notes and titling your mems, you ensure that your notes remain accessible and useful over time. And again, all you have to do is just look at the way that Google works. When you search for a key phrase, you'll notice often the link title is very much the exact thing that you had searched for. If you search for blog posts with a specific key phrase, you'll notice that those keywords are in the title of the blog post. And that's one good way to think about how you want to title your mems and make them future-proof for being able to find them easily. So the next thing we're going to do is what we call filtered search, which combines a combination of keyword searches along with Mem's built-in filters. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do a keyword search for the term knowledge management. And so what I'm going to do is just put that in there, and you can see I probably have a ton of notes on knowledge management, and that's one of the reasons that I chose it. But what we can do here is if we go into all the different types of ways that we can search, you can see here that we can see, what collections they belong to, whether they were captured by text. But this is the one in particular that I'm interested in for this particular query. I want to find every single note in my knowledge base that happens to have the words knowledge management and might have a link to Amazon in it. So you can see here that all of these notes, you can see here that this actually has a, quote, or this is another note that actually has a link to a book on Amazon. This is another one that has links to multiple books on Amazon Transformative Reads. And not all of them are exactly relevant to the concept of knowledge management, but they are tied. But you can see here, this is another one where I have Tiago Forte's book notes, and there's the Amazon link for that book. So that's one way. So let's do one more search here. What we're going to do this time is we're going to search for the keyword second brain. But this time what we're going to do is, instead of looking for something that has Amazon links with the keyword second brain, we're going to find something that has links to videos inside of it. So it's possible that, you might capture some YouTube videos or links inside of it. So inside of Mem. So we have this links ability here. So let's actually see if we find anything with YouTube links and the term second brain. So you can see here that we actually do have a couple of different YouTube links, probably to some of the videos that you have actually seen on my very channel, many of which, are linked here inside of Mem. So I can easily access the links when I need them. So you've seen two different ways that we can filter this out, but you also have other ways to filter here too. So we could say, okay, let's see if we can find anything with second brain that has Loom links inside of it. And you can see here, there is a conversation with the copywriter that I had about updating our copy for our Maximize Your Output course, and it's related to the concept of second brain. So basically what it did, it was it found anything that had the term second brain in it and that happened to have links to Loom videos inside. All right, do the next cut here. Now let's finish this up with more advanced search techniques. So in this technique, what we're going to do is we're going to combine a combination of a keyword phrase as well as a collection. So in this case, I know for a fact that I have information overload, like tons of notes about this. So, and I know that I've talked to certain guests about it. So instead of searching for just the keyword phrase and applying a filter, this time what we're doing is we're actually putting in the names of our collections into our search query. So that way, when we get the search results, we'll more than likely find everything that is in those collections. So you can see here that it actually filters and shows us which collections have notes. So if we wanted to click down into the collection, we can see there's quite a few things on information overload and all the various podcast transcripts. But if we go back and we look at it again, I'm sure that we can see that we'll have, links to my transcripts, and there are a couple of places that reference my transcript collection. So overall, what you're seeing here is a way to combine the combination of collections and keyword phrases at the same time. And we can filter this as well if we wanted to. So we combine 3 different search techniques. So that's the thing about the advanced search techniques, is what you're really doing is you're basically combining everything that you saw in the first 3 steps. And what you can do is you can start with phrases and collections. Unfortunately, when you do searches and say something like has an Amazon link, it doesn't seem to work. So this is kind of a nice way to combine everything together, where you do the search for the collection, the key phrase, and then filter it based on whatever the available filters are inside of Mem. And that, in a nutshell, is basically the 4 different ways that you can find information in Mem very easily and retrieve it. Search is actually one of those things that's underrated. The key, as I mentioned at the beginning earlier, search is actually one of the most underrated features inside of Mem as far as being able to retrieve information. I know that a lot of people have talked to me about this, and this is why, as I mentioned earlier in the video, the key to being able to use search effectively in Mem is titling your notes properly and making sure that the content of your notes is not gibberish. And as always, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below.